Gaen Izuku, man. Holy fucking just straight goat. Those facial expressions, the poses. Now I know where Yotsuki learned that shit. I knew it wasn't Kagenui. I was always wondering where Yotsuki learned to strike the pose like that, dude. It's all Gaen. Oh my god, those head tilts, the illustrations and the visuals that Shaft was implementing during that exposition, which that dialogue was absolutely goat based Nisi. I'm gonna dive into it in depth, but yo, that shit with the symbolism in those, and especially getting into the exposition and, you know, finding out what truly happened after the apparition killer tried to commit suicide 400 years ago. That shit just blew my mind. The illustrations in that description were goat. And then just the progression of it and what truly happened. Everything is starting to fall into place as far as what I believe Gaen was truly saying. I was like, that shit was incredible, dude. This episode was amazing. It made up for the beginning part 10 times over with the progression of this episode, dude. And first thing I need to say before I even get into anything else, that ending card, man. That ending card was on some next level creep shit. You just see Ogi's huge face staring down on Araragi and Sadachi as they sit around the coffee table. I'm like, yo, oh, so creep. Ogi's always watching, man. Dude, Owarimonogatari, episode 9, my best girl, dude. My best girl with that kakai. She grabs the Jagiri Noah and she just chokes them out, dude. I was done. I was just seeing Shinobu back yet again. I raved about this last week, but my girl kiss shot. It's all about it. Nobody else matters at the end of the day. Nobody else is above my girl Shinobu, dude. And you see, I felt like a stray fiend. I'm not going to lie. I have to get this off my chest and admit this. When she was on the swing set, even and you know, of course, Araragi's gonna dive under there to catch a glimpse. She like change her perspective, and you see that, you know, Gaen left the little note indicating the change to the shrine and everything like that, to Kitawara Hebi Shrine, and I'm just like, yo, let me catch a glimpse, just straight up like Araragi, man. And for those of you that don't remember why I could have potentially been so excited, even though it's fucked up to admit, Shinobu doesn't have any pantsu. Shinobu doesn't believe in pantsu, dude. And I thought we would actually get a glimpse of it, and it would be like it was in Bake, where you saw the little band-aid. But whatever, I digress. That scene was amazing when she was like, yo, replicate the laugh for me. And you saw the kind of her shadow kind of looming over us. I was just like, Shinobu, it's so amazing to have her back. The 62 points that she rates Kanbaru and Araragi's fight has against, you know, this episode, which that fight honestly really did disappoint me. I expected so much more with the bar that's been set in Monogatari for little skirmishes. They go in, dog. They go in, and I expected. I mean, it was dope to see Koko Watari again. It was dope to see that little Kanbaru underboob action. Yeah, I'm not gonna let the little underboob fight. Kanbaru fanservice has been on point, man. It truly has. But ultimately, that fight was disappointing. But the 62 points that she gave and everything after that, when she was just like, yo, replicate the laugh for me. And then she was in complete disbelief and denial. She refuses to believe that her first minion could potentially still be alive. And when Araragi replicated the laugh, which it wasn't anything for my boy Hiroshi to do, because he is in fact the voice of the apparition killer as well. He replicated Araragi's voice, stealing with the energy drain. But hearing him is that ha 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 ha. I was done, dude. I was dying. I was absolutely dying. But those things aside, which were absolutely amazing in and of themselves, dude. I was just having Shinobu back, man, and hearing her voice. It's just so amazing to me. But I can't lie and say that Gaen didn't steal the episode and make up for my disappointment in the actual fight. You know, I already gotten over that based on those the little bits of me getting hyped over Shinobu. It already got me over that, but Gaen stole the show, dude. When she was raving, you saw, you know, the platform ascending of the water and everything like that, and she had the little Dracula vampire cape on and whatnot. I was just like, yo, Gaen is too real, dude. Meanwhile, she's operating under the alias of Mei's younger sister, not wanting Kanbaru to really know her affiliation with her mother and know that she's in fact her aunt, which I don't see the point in that. When she summoned her here in the entirety, I'm curious as to her endgame and what she really wants to, you know, get out of meeting with Kanbaru. But aside from that, dude, just their dialogue, what she was, and I love that one line where she's like, yo, if it were Mei, he would have, if it was my pesky, you know, big brother, he would have just said, you look to be in good spirits. Did something nice happen to you? And I was like, yo, this is straight the voice of Mei, yo. And she's like, unfortunately, I'm not, you know, resentfully, I'm not as tolerant as Meme is. I'm just like, yo, Gaen is insane. And what Shaft did with the symbolism, the one that knows everything, and she admits herself, even though she knows everything, that doesn't mean things will always go her way, especially with the wild card that is Araragi and the whole, and I really think a lot of that is hinting towards endgame with Oki and everything like that, and the moves that she's trying to set in place to counter that. But Gaen is, out of any other character, transcending Meme, transcending Kagenoe, transcending my best boy Kaiki. She's on that tier where she's breaking the fourth wall straight up and flat out, like even with subtle lines like calling Araragi a good narrator and a great storyteller, kind of referencing the fact that Araragi is the narrator for the majority of the series and everything like that. Her entire dialogue and the symbolism, first of all, showcasing her amongst that planetary diorama and everything like that, and her being at the center of it, the way the clouds were warping around her head as she spoke and everything like that. I was just like, yo. And when she was on the sundial and you saw the shadow rotating, which also has some deeper meaning into going back to, Maya Jiangshi and time travel and everything like that, as well as the role of the sun in, the apparition killer trying to commit this suicide. And Base Nisio, with that dialogue, just with the wordplay, dude, where it was, Jisatsu Misu is attempted suicide. And guys like, no, it was a Jisatsu Misu. And I was like, yo, Base Nisio, man, it was too real. It's absolutely too real. Seeing her amongst the diorama of the town, and she's just giant, playing with the little figures of everyone and breaking down exactly what happened. She's like, are you that naive to really believe that all of this is just mere coincidence? You're so speaking about Araragi, she's like, you're so humble that you truly believe that you're not special in any way and that this could just happen to anyone. Why do you think that Kishat, ACEROLA-ORION, Heart on the Blade was in this town in the first place? Why do you think all of these apparitions, all these oddities, all these kai are surrounding you and have been for the longest time? You think it's just a matter of happenstance and chance? And granted, Meme was that lackadaisical, laid back, not really trying to reveal anything, but once I got into that backstory and what actually happened with the apparition killer, which, him clinging to like this underlying will that he couldn't even surmount, and wanting to die, having been, brought into despair by the fact that he had become what he so, hated before, and what he strove to eradicate from the world and everything like that, and tried to kill himself. His will to live was so strong, his tenacity was so great, that the ashes kept reforming perpetually over and over again in this endless cycle of him trying to regenerate. And as soon as Kanbaru said it, as soon as he was like, no, Araragi, but he's a vampire. Aren't vampires immortal? Like, and I thought about it, and everything just came. I was like, yo, wait, that's a fate even worse than that. As Gaen says, it truly is immortality in this crazy sense of it. And to see how it all played out for 400 years, him trying the ashes, coming together piece by piece and everything like that, the symbolism and how Shaft portrayed it with the breaking of the different silhouettes and whatnot, I was just like, yo, this shit is real. This shit is fucking crazy. And his hatred and his mind definitely has to be warped after that experience. And the way he perceives, my girl Shinobu is probably, drenched in malice and everything like that. But to that, the fact that she ends it, that cliffhanger where she's just like, and that reformation of himself happened 15 years ago. Now, instantly, I already know some people are going to take this the wrong way. And they're like, yo, does that mean that Araragi was, somehow shaped by this and everything like that? In a sense, yes. It's not as if he was reincarnated into Araragi or anything of that nature. Aragi's, Aragi's 18 years old. So it's nothing like that. But think about 15 years ago and the significance of that, and when really things started to happen in this town, with it going back to TSUKI and when she was born and everything that happened, and how that apparition went into Aragi's mother's womb and everything like that. That was 15 years ago. When this oddity came to Kitora Heavy Shrine and posted up and started to slowly revive and broke free of that endless regeneration and then being obliterated by the sun yet again. And I believe that his rage and his malice and everything, the kind of him being such of the highest tier of Kai, being a vampire and everything like that, being Shinobu's servant, one of the greatest vampires of all time and in all of existence, the man started to draw more Kai and more Adi, more apparitions to this town. And I'm guessing that he probably went back there because in the past, and remember when we got into, you know, the Mayojanshi and the Shinobu time stuff, and especially the Shinobu time stuff with the Black Orb, and they were talking about Shinobu's past, the town in the past, they were there, and this was where she first encountered the Apparition Killer to begin with. So he was probably, his soul, his spirit wanted to return to that base location. And then everything, if that's the case, starts to align, dude. Well, like I said with TSUKI, with every, you know, apparition up to date and how it started to increase with his powers and with him regenerating and coming back to a fuller state, probably instigated more and more apparition to come there. And once Shinobu came as well, it just, you know, made it that much more fervent and that much crazier. But on top of that, then it makes everything, like, remember back when Mei told Araragi to go in and he brought Kamaru along to put the tag on the shrine and to ward off, you know, any potential dangers because of the presence that was there. It was all in regards to this. Even probably, you know, Jagi Nawara and I forget the actual name of the snake god. I forget the name of the snake god that we see in second season, that in Naruto Medusa and everything like that. But even that is probably, and he in and of himself is wholly part of Naruto's generation, everything like that. But even that was probably spurred by the presence of the apparition killer, dude. Shit's fucking insane. Shit is fucking crazy right now with that reveal, dude. I'm just like, everything's starting to come into place as far as that, and I understand why Nisio would piece this story here, because it really does connect and centralize a lot of the events that transpire in second season in Bake and Nisa and everything like that, and as well as setting up, you know, certain points of foreshadowing through Gaen and everything like that for things to come in the rest of final season, the rest of you know, Owarimonogatari, as far as endgame and everything like that, because I believe that there's subtle hints in her dialogue concerning Araragi that go past him and are in reference and in regard to the link between him and Ogi and everything like that. But Gaen, oh my god, that shit was absolutely amazing, dude. Just the symbolism, the visuals, just her voice, man. It was absolutely amazing, dude. I was loving every minute of that. I didn't want it to end, man, because I was just sitting there and I'm like, yo, the revelations aside, just getting some, and the only thing that I have yet to really put my finger on was her dialogue concerning Tsubasa, her dialogue concerning Hanakawa. I need to rewatch and kind of go back and see if there's anything really in Nekoshira's, aside from the obvious and Hanakawa's desire to protect Araragi and everything like that, and how she kind of skirts. It was really the dialogue of how she skirts the normal formula of these other apparitions that, you know, seem to form in this town as well, that I'm most curious about and really want to get into. So if anybody has any insight into that offhand and you could let me know, please feel free to let me know, because I really want to know what she truly meant by that. But I'm going to go look into it myself after this video. I didn't want to waste time doing that now because it would have taken forever, and I just had to get my raw thoughts of this episode out, man. It was too real. It was too fucking real. Like, I expected a more hype clash between that random, you know, apparition at the beginning and you know, Shinobu, Araragi, and Kanbaru, but whatever. The rest of the episode, that Shinobu greatness, fucking Gaen, the rest of the episode more than made up for my you know, minor saltiness over not getting a more hype fight there, because the animation quality was just meh. I was just like, I know you can do better than this shot. I know you can do better than this in terms of the fluidity of battle animation. I know you can. So let's get on that, man. But aside from that, let me know your thoughts on this episode. I've raved on for long enough, and I'm out. Peace.